Hello, hello, everyone. I hope that you've had a wonderful day today. It's so good to see you. I don't think I'm as nervous as I was last night, so that's a good thing. How has everyone else's day been today? So I've been working. So I don't know, some of you may know. Well, clearly I do the tarot readings, and that's part of my business. And then of course setting up the school there. But the other part of what I do is I'm also a registered massage therapist and an esthetician. So I actually have my own little spa within my home. It's something that I'm having to give up, though. I can't keep up with it just with all the tarot readings and everything else that I'm doing. So I was working there today, and then tomorrow will be kind of like my last day in the spa, and then flying out to the UK. So I'm super excited. So I'll give this a few minutes before everyone comes in. I had mentioned yesterday that I had created my own tarot deck a number of years ago. I've been trying to find it for you and I couldn't. But what I did find, and I thought would be really fun to share with you, seeing since the reason that most of us are connected is through tarot, I thought I would show you my very first tarot deck that I bought. So this is the one that I bought, is when I was living in Edinburgh. So we're talking 30 years ago. 30 years ago is when I bought my first tarot deck. And I hadn't even gone into the shop to buy a tarot deck. I'd gone in for something completely different. And to be honest, I kind of had to hide it for a while because I was brought up in a very religious household, and that was definitely seen as a no-no. So, but the cards, I was so intrigued by the patterns and the cards. I just thought they were beautiful, and I wanted to know all of the stories. So this deck is actually really, I couldn't have picked a much harder one to read. Well, maybe other than the Antique Anatomy, but this one does not follow traditional meanings. Okay, if you were to look at them, they would not make sense. And so it took me ages to try and navigate through them. But I just loved looking at the illustrations, and I just make up my own stories. I thought they were so beautiful. So tell me, what was your first tarot deck? If you have a tarot deck, what was your first tarot deck? I'd be so curious. And if you don't have a tarot deck, if you were to purchase one, is there one that you have that's your favorite? I know for many of the followers here, the favorite is absolutely the Antique Anatomy. I love it. I love it. But tell me your experiences with tarot. Also, drop me a note and let me know whether you are watching live or whether you are coming on for a replay. I know that this is a difficult hour for some of our UK friends and Australian friends. So I'm expecting more of the North Americans to be here with me tonight. I'm so happy to see all of you. Hello. I love looking through your comments. After yesterday, I went through all of your comments, so I try and reply to them. It does take me a while, though, so if I missed you, I only did so by accident. But yeah, so tell me, what was your favorite tarot deck? Are you watching live or the replay? And where are you from? So as I mentioned, although I have a British accent and I do travel to the UK frequently, I actually live in Alberta, Canada. I was born out in Vancouver, and then was raised out in the UK, and then came back to Canada in 2000. So this is streaming again. Hopefully I've got it right. I think I maybe have this time. So many technicalities. Okay, I think we should be ready to start. Thank you for being here, guys. So as an introduction again, my name is Avalon Kisby, and what we have been doing, we started yesterday, and today and tomorrow we are going to be doing a Meet the Reader, almost like when your children are in school and you go meet the teacher. Yeah, that kind of idea. So it's Meet the Reader. I think it's really important for people to actually understand who their reader is. who it is they're coming to for advice, why they're drawn to them. You know, it is interesting for that. Okay, so thank you to those of you who signed up for the 90-day program. I'm really, really, really excited to have you in that program and to start working together. Did you enjoy some of the downloads that I've prepared for you? I have in there I have a 30-day journal, which you can print off 3 times. Actually, you can print it off as many times as you want. It's yours to keep. And a list of affirmations, and then there's all the Zoom dates in there. Did you manage to find all of those? Excellent. So I was also going to say let me see. For those who haven't found it yet, let me see if I can do it this way. I need to see if I can do something. No, I don't know. Okay, I'll do that later. I was gonna say if there we go. This is what I'm trying to show you. This is free for everybody. It's a little, I need to say workbook because I don't quite know what to call it, but it's not going to make you work. It's a think book then. It's a think book, tapping into your own intuition. Okay, so I create it for you. If you want to find where this is and you haven't found it yet, then just write workbook under here for me, and then I will send you a link for that. Okay. Let me see if I can remove this now. Okay, there, did it. I'm learning. Okay, so yesterday we looked at how, using my intuition, I was able to enter my dream relationship. If you haven't seen that video, then I suggest you go back and see it. It is like a true life Nicholas Sparks movie screen. It is a script. I wouldn't be surprised if one day it's turned into a movie, like for real, or a Hallmark movie, and it's completely true. So yeah, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. Today I'm going to be talking about how I've used my intuition that guided me to my dream home. Okay, so that's where we're going to start today. A home has always been really, really important to me. I know that might sound like a really redundant thing to say, but it definitely was. As a child, I would fantasize about the type of home that I would eventually have for myself. You know, many of my dreams actually included me living in the childhood home forever. And it's funny because there has been, if you listen to my story yesterday, that's kind of part of what I had dreamt for myself as a child. It's just come around in a very different way. However, I didn't think that would ever be possible, you know, so that wasn't something that I truly dreamt on. And I felt that I would probably have to leave my childhood home to have my own family and my own home. There was an expectation that I was raised to believe. From a young age, I was raised to know that one day I would leave to become a wife and a mother. That was my responsibility. Okay, so in that regards, I was raised with it, therefore I had no objection to it. I thought that was the normal. And from a super young age, I would look at catalogs and, you know, look at homes, and I would dream about the homes that I would like and maybe the items that would go inside the home. And many of my Christmas and birthday gifts were actually items that were put aside for me as a bottom drawer for when I would get married. Probably from the age of 7 or 8. I had things, a lot of my Christmas gifts or birthday gifts would be those. I still have some of those today, many recipe books or, you know, just little things I still have. There was no debate or question as to what that would be, what I would really want. It was an expectation, you know, put on me by others. And I was very obedient as a child and as a teen. With those expectations, And I've been raised that those were absolutes. I was introduced to the man that I was to marry when I was 15, and as soon as it was legal for me to marry at 18, then we were married. I moved way up to Scotland at that point from the southeast of England, so quite a distance from my actual hometown. So move forward to my mid-20s, and I now have 2 babies, 2 beautiful babies, but I was actually desperately unhappy. And it had become so much that I felt that I couldn't stay. I tried to ask for help within the church, but that didn't really go down too well. I was simply told that I needed to make my marriage work, and that actually if I left the marriage that I'd be breaking very, very serious covenants that I'd made, and that I would be sent to hell. Those were the words that were used. You have to remember that I was actually raised in the church, and when they told me these things, I believed them. I thought that that would be my destiny, both of those things. And I was frightened, and I believed them to be true. But I became so unhappy. It was a toss-up. Do I go to hell later, or do I stay in hell? Is what I felt. And like the Tower card that we see in tarot, I made a decision. And I did the unthinkable, is I left. I left, and I left with my 2 children. I had no idea what the outcome would be. It cast shame on both sides of the family. I was most definitely seen as the black sheep, the scapegoat, and was definitely the scandal. I couldn't turn to either his family or my family. And I couldn't turn to anybody in the church, because all of the advice would be the same, which would be to make it work. I was in my 20s, and I couldn't envision making this work to my 70s or 80s. That seemed impossible to me. So I left with 2 bags and some diapers. The lawyers were really upset with me because they said that they wanted me to fight to get the family home, and I couldn't do it. It was an absolute no for me. I thought that it was my fault that the marriage didn't work, and that because it was me that wanted to leave, I didn't want to do any more harm. For anyone who is an empath, and I'm sure I'm speaking to many empaths here tonight, we know that we can bear our own grief, but the grief and disappointment of others is unbearable to us. And I could feel it from all sides. That can tear you apart, and actually that can be some of the reasons why you stay within a relationship, because it's almost unbearable to leave, to take on and feel other people's emotions, almost as unbearable as staying and putting your unhappiness. What happened is a very kind hotelier allowed me and the 2 children to stay there, and they would feed us breakfast and gave us 1 room, but it certainly couldn't be a permanent solution. Asking assistance from welfare, a really incredible lady stood up and took me under her wing. She knew of an entire block of houses that were about to be knocked down. It was in a very, very rough town, very rough neighborhood, but this entire block was about to be knocked down. The houses had been evacuated, but there had been planning delays, and she asked if she could get permission to unblock one of those, to unboard one of those, would I stay there? Yes. Yes, I would. And I did. I lived there for a year. It was unboarded for me and the water was turned on. The only source of heat in the house was from a coal fire. And that coal fire then fed the radiators that would heat up the rest of the house and the hot water. So if I couldn't get that coal fire warm, then we wouldn't be warm. I wasn't very good at lighting fires. There was no carpets, there was no curtains, and there was no neighbors. And I absolutely loved it. I loved living there. I was so happy, even though we were only there for a short period of time. We were there for about a year. And during that time, I started getting on my feet. And within that year, I got a letter to say that it was time for the demolition crew to come in and move forward with their plans, and it would be time for me to leave. I found a picture of this house. Would you like to see it? Let me see if I can do this. There. This is the house that I lived in for a year. You can see the houses over here are boarded up. I loved it there. I remained in that town. It was a very rough, drug-infested town where actually there was bars, not just on one side of the windows, but on both sides of the windows in a lot of public areas. I was there until I was guided to move to Canada in 2000, and that is entirely an incredible story that I will share perhaps with you another time. Let's fast forward to where I am now. In 2004, I felt that I should start to look for a home. And I had fun looking, but every time that I would walk into a home, my intuition would say, it's not this one. It's not this one. There was a house that just kept coming up on my feed, on my search bar. And I would look at it, and I would look at it, and I would look at it, but it was absolutely not in my price range. My intuition told me, go look at it. Now, I don't like wasting people's time. It's something that I find challenging. And I felt that I'd be wasting the realtor's time and the homeowner's time. And yet the intuition was so strong that I did it. And when I had looked through the house and I came back down onto the main living room, my intuition said, this is your home. The realtor told me that the family had custom built this house and that the wife had been really disappointed in it and she didn't love it. They were wealthy, and what they had done, because she didn't love it, they'd built another home on the other side of town and they were living in it. But they didn't want to carry two mortgages. And this house had been on the market for about a year. No one else had taken a bite on it. As he was telling me all of this, there was an offer that was forming in my head. And we went straight back to his offer. We went straight back to his office, and I made a formal offer. And that offer was accepted. Completely different way of purchasing a home than the usual route. When I told others what I had done, they said to me, "Are you mad? Are you mad? How can you afford it?" My answer was always the same. I don't fully know, but I'll work it out because I know that this is the house and I trust myself. Let me show you. This is the house that I saw. That's what I saw. They didn't show the front of the house, they only showed the back of the house. And I saw it and I was like, I want to go see it. So when I moved in here, every wall of the house was a different color. Every room is a different shape. It is completely custom built. And actually that's quite really what put a lot of people off, because they couldn't see beyond that. However, I could imagine it all. I could imagine it all. And though it took me years to gather the finances to make it mine. Let me show you what I have now created in this home. And I promise you, it's not to brag. It is simply to share how following your intuition can create beautiful things in your life. So I've had the opportunity to go into this custom home that was built for someone who didn't love it. And it feels like it was custom built for me. It met all of my needs and more. And now I have gone in and I've been able to redesign it and custom it to me. So what I'm going to show you in the next slides are my design and what I've had done in the home. There. I designed that. That's my bathroom. That's my ensuite. It's been used in quite a few advertisements, especially for the person who installed everything for me. They've got a lot of work from showing this picture. This was the bathroom, and what I've created downstairs, that's my kitchen that I designed. It's beautiful. Now, again, many are going to say, I'm lucky. Yes, I am. I am lucky. I'm really lucky to live here. I really am. However, it wasn't only just luck. I listened. I listened even when it made no sense to listen to my intuition. That logic would say otherwise. I listened. My intuition guided me, and what I knew, I knew. And the questions that I couldn't answer at that time, I trusted that I would be able to come up with a solution. And I did. So yesterday, we saw how I followed my intuition, and that has led me to the most beautiful, magical, fairy tale relationship. And today, I have shown you how my intuition has led me to an incredible home. A path was made. I simply had to trust. I've been here now for 18 years in this home. Am I the only one that can experience this? Certainly not. Certainly not. As I said yesterday, look at me. I'm 52. I'm very ordinary. I'm very relatable. I have this magical life that did take decades to create because I was a slow learner. I'm sure I could have jumped from A to B a lot quicker. And I certainly have over this Once I crack that code, I have. But I'm telling you now, this is not even my end game. Where I am, this is not even my end game. There's more to come. I know so within me. Everyone who is watching, every single one of you, it is your birthright to have whatever it is that you truly desire. For me, it took listening to my intuition, assumption, and a whole lot of unshakable mindset. If you want a deep soul love connection, one that's magical, a fairy tale, that's your birthright. What audacious dreams do you have for your house? What would you create? What would be your dream home? That's your birthright. Do you want to stop working so hard and earn money easily, simply by sharing your passion with others? That is your birthright. And for many, that is actually your mission. I say it many times in my videos. The breadcrumbs to your success are fueled by your passion. That's your gift. That's your gift to share with others and to make an impact on the world. Are you shrinking or are you expanding? When you're not living in your purpose, when you stop doing that, the soul sends signals to your body. You're meant to be living in abundance of all kinds. I get questions all of the time from those that have incredible intuition. The collective that I read for are highly gifted. All of you. You're all highly gifted. The questions that come in are, when is this going to happen? Meaning a soul connection or a career to take off. They say, I know it's meant, but I don't see how. And why is it taking so long? I pose to you though, if you really trusted your intuition, would those questions even be relevant? I did not question my intuition when it told me to accept an invite to go on a vacation. It did not even occur to me to think, what's going to happen to my spa when I'm gone? What's going to happen to my clients? Are they going to find somewhere else to go get their services because I'm gone for an entire month? How am I going to pay for my mortgage and my utilities while I'm gone? It didn't occur to me. I didn't question my intuition when it told me that this house, even though it looked impossible logically and on paper, I didn't question how, and the solution was negotiated. One of the reasons that my readings are so loved by you is because I am affirming what you already know inside of you. My readings are helping you like a tool to strengthen your own intuition. And I am helping to install that unshakable mindset. Imagine having me walk beside you, working with you. If I can do that much through a simple collective reading, what do you think it would be possible for us to co-create? One of my greatest assets, other than my intuition, is my unshakable mindset. I've always had it. To me, it's the norm. And by being around me, you will also cultivate it and it'll become your normal. It'll be your new normal. This program is for you if you are an intuitive or opening up to your intuition and you're still having to learn to trust yourself. If you know within that you have a soul counterpart whom you are destined to be with, and yet there are constant complications, there are third parties, there is no commitment, there is no contact, and yes, I mean you twin flames too. Do you realize that those complications can be eliminated? I know that. I am also a twin flame, and that's something that I will talk about within the program. This is for those that know that they have a path and yet aren't quite sure what comes next. This program can alter any aspect of your life, from a relationship to home to career. What will you get? You'll have me walking beside me walking beside you, with my arm around you. You will have me there to help you when you're finding it challenging to trust yourself. "90 days might seem like a long time, but it's a drop in the ocean when compared to a lifetime of living in the same way. 90 days, the decades that it took me, 90 days is nothing." For this program, the doors will close on April the 11th. Okay, and I can guarantee you that the price that I am offering this for, the investment of 1111, that will not be offered again. And yes, that is an investment. I learned a long time ago that I was my biggest asset and my biggest investment. And I loved on myself, and I have invested in myself with mentors that have helped me from one step to the next. The first 5 to enroll and pay in full are receiving a one-on-one Zoom with me, and I'll be reaching out to those, okay? And within that, we will go over the groundwork and what you are looking to achieve within this 3-month program. So I am really looking forward to working with those that have enrolled. This is an incredible opportunity. Tomorrow will be the last part of Meet the Reader, and I will be sharing how I went from needing financial assistance to building a 6-figure income. And this 6-figure income has happened within months, not years. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight. I've really enjoyed. I'm going to go now and scroll through all the comments. If you need help finding where, let me do this here. If you need help to find where, that's where to go to sign up for the course, the avalonacademy.com. Like I say, the doors will close on April the 11th. And at that time, I will also take down all of these videos and they will be put away. So it will come to a complete close. So this is a gift for those that are here at this time, for you. Have such a wonderful evening, and I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow. I send each of you so much love.